Oh, he's not smiling. Ah.
Why are you smiling? You're so weird.
What up, y'all? I'm Anathi Pakade. Today is another day, man. I'm chilling over here with my younger sister, Anathi Pakade.
Hi, guys.
Okay. Yeah. So, she's kind of a nerd, right? So that is why I wanted to kind of talk to her about this conversation of education that rhymed. I know, I'm pretty dope. What do you think? I'm in her room right now, okay? So
Yeah.
that just brings us to the whole thing of education and the schooling system. And I just wanted to talk to her, ask her about what she thinks, about being in school, the whole schooling system in general. So now, I'm not really much of an interviewer, so this is more of a conversation. So I'm just going to have a conversation with you. And don't be freaked out. I know I'm your brother, okay? But right now...
It's like so weird. Okay,
Yeah.
but continue.
Yeah, let's just be serious for 1 minute, okay? What do you think of the schooling system, like in general, of South Africa?
The schooling system.
Yeah.
Well, because I can't compare it to anything, because I've only been in South Africa. I've been through pretty good schools, just to speak for myself.
Yeah.
But I know there are so many South Africans out there who don't have the same privilege, and who don't have
Definitely.
standards are just so different between schools. And you see it when you get to varsity that, oh, this child comes from this school, this one comes from this school, and the understanding and the grasping of the work is a bit tougher for some of them than others. And yeah, it just shows you the differences.
So it's
because at the
kinda
end of
like-
the day,
yeah.
you end up at the same varsity. You go to Saint what, you go to a semi-private, you go to a governmental, one of the
Yeah.
forgot what
So it's kind of like an unfair start, basically, you could say like that. Because
basically
it's like one starts there and the other starts here. And it's also more so like, would you agree that it also has this whole thing of the race thing also, like the opportunities that maybe white kids have over black kids, because most of them are like in the Kasi and their schooling system is not the same as, say, like schools in Centurion or Pretoria or something.
to a certain extent, yeah. And it stems back to history, like apartheid days.
Yeah.
The educational system back then was completely different to what white kids were getting. So they kind of had like an upper hand, a start that was like here, and we like starting here.
Yeah.
And as time goes along and we're trying to improve things, we're going up, but they're going up too. So the gap
It
remains.
stays there.
Do you understand?
Yeah, so that's like the exact discussion I had with someone, because I was like, how do you expect us to now say, okay, equal ground, when we are behind? It's
we are
like,
so
yo,
behind. We're so
we
behind.
need to kind of catch up and
Even-
allow us to.
Yeah, you just see it. Most successful people are the minority in the country because their privileges from the past gave them an advantage. Your past has an impact on the future.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So
And
like
your generation
it's
to
like that. Like the past always will have an impact on how the future is going to look like. And yes, we're trying to change what happened in the past, or right what happened in the past, but it's not fast. And people think, oh no, it's been so long since freedom, 1994. It's been so long, so how come it's not long actually? How do you know what long is? Because compare someone's whole life to just how many years has it been since 94?
20 or so years.
Yeah.
20.
That's not is how do you know if that's enough time to catch up everything? Do you understand? There's people who still can't get jobs, their parents. And education, as much as it's become so important, it doesn't mean it's become more accessible. You see in varsity, people can't pay for fees. They're struggling to pay for school fees. They don't have accommodation. And there's like a huge population of students who don't have those things.
Yeah.
And then they say, if you want to get a job or you want to have this, you have to have an educational background that's like this. But they're not attainable for a lot of people. And some people might say, oh no, go get a job then. But that job is still not going to cover what you have to pay in terms of fees, because our fees are crazy. Just in this varsity alone, I have like a debt of 95,000+ rand to pay for this year, and I don't know where, how. Do you understand? And it's not like I'm not I'm very like underprivileged, but it's still gonna be tough to pay
on
that.
you.
Now imagine someone
yeah.
who doesn't have like a background that at least can pay for some of that. You know what I mean? It's and then you get people getting academically excluded, and then people will then be like, oh, you're not educated. How am I going to get educated if I do not have money for it? But when I get money for it, my family will be like, oh, he has a job, black tax, you have to pay your mom's groceries because now you have a job, but that job can't even cater for yourself, let alone your school fees. Now you have to pay for your family and your siblings. They expect you to buy things for them and provide because you have a job in the family. You know what I mean? So there's people who are going through stuff like that. And so as much as education is important, it's not accessible for everyone. And that's the unfair part.
Yeah, because that's the thing with me also. Like when I was still in school, I used to see that there were people who like genuinely couldn't get into school, and the school would pressure them and then they would lock them out eventually, and they wouldn't get their marks and stuff because they didn't pay the school fees. And you know how high it is because I was like in like a private institution. So yeah, like just that whole thing of you work hard and you're trying to get an opportunity in life, but then you've been set back already. You know, you don't have the finance, the capital to be able to do that. And also there's not enough bursaries honestly for everybody.
I've been applying
because like imagine the majority is
look at the people who don't have. It's so many of them, and they all probably need bursaries. Who doesn't need a bursary? Things are expensive. Even if I don't need a bursary, I still need it because it's too much. My parents have got five kids. How are they supposed to cater for all of us with the salary that they get? You know what I mean? Like you can't just say, oh no, the background that you come from. Yes, there's people who have worse backgrounds, but we all need it. Do you understand? And it's just hard, man, for a black child, to be honest, Shane. It's hard because...
So what do you think like needs to change? Like if you were to talk to maybe a government that would be in power, like what should they do?
The NSFAS, South Africa has money. Number one, I'm not even going to be like, no, they've got money. Okay, they've got billions. E-taxes that we get charged, that our parents get charged. How many things do people pay towards a government? Government has got money. Do you understand? South Africa has got money, but they're just using it incorrectly, and they are investing in things that don't matter. Whereas if they were investing in the youth, who is the future of this country, then I mean, wouldn't things improve? Because I was just thinking actually today. I remember my cousin got up name dropping. So I remember KB told me when she got to England. I remember we were young when she moved to England. She finished her high school there, and then she went to varsity after that. And I asked her how she paid for that because I wanted to go overseas at some point. And she was like, no, the government pays for their fees. I don't know if it's something you apply for, and I don't think they check your background, they check what your parents are, they pay for your fees, right? And I know this is a first world, but that has nothing to do with anything, I feel, because South Africa has got that money. They pay for your fees, right? And then you study further, you finish your studies, and then when you go to work, they automatically charge what they've been helping you, so you're kind of paying it back as you're working. If you're not earning a certain bracket, I don't think they charge you that much. I think it depends on how much you're earning. So they kind of fair with the system that they're getting back what they've invested in you, but you know, they're giving you your free time to do that. They're not going to pressurize you into getting a job and all of that, but as soon as you do get a job, it's automatically there because I mean, you were registered, your name is there, so as soon as you start getting a job, I think they deduct that amount. So that's like, for me, that was perfect because then it means if you want to study, you can. And those who don't want to study, it's also like, okay, then you don't have to study, it's fine. But those who want to, they give them that opportunity and they can study. If you don't have money, then you can still study. And then
that brings me to my next question.
When you work, it just gets deducted.
Yeah. Brings me to the next question, what you just said, when you're like, if they want to study, they can study, they'll get the stuff.
Yes.
And it just goes to show, like with those countries, people have that choice, you know. So I wanted to ask, do you think in our country we can have that choice whereby people can create opportunities for themselves in other ways, you know? Because I was talking about things such as entrepreneurial English, hey, entrepreneurship. Okay, yeah, that. So basically like making your own innovation, you know, basically, you know. Do you think that is where the schooling system maybe should start taking the focus towards? And I'm talking like primary school to high school. Definitely. Because now what I find is that we're being taught from primary school to high school how to work or to get into a varsity, to get a job, but not necessarily to be innovative and be like a person who creates stuff.
Yeah.
And that's also beyond other stuff. I was thinking about the schooling system whereby they should teach us agriculture to be able to
how to fend
make
for
our
yourself.
own. Yeah, to fend for ourselves, basically. Yes. So
that's absolutely, I feel like,
because I think they teach us dependence.
Yes. That's basically what the educational system is. It's made it so cool to work for someone else. You'll find that you get more excited to have a stable job because it's the safer option, and it's more what's the word? English is hard. It's more. It's like, whoa, guys. It's a safer option, and it's like, oh, I'm guaranteed that I'm going to get a salary at the end of the month. Even though you don't understand that salary will not even compare to how much you've paid studying to get that job.
Yeah.
Like the fees that we've paid over the 3 years, the 4 years that I've been here, I don't think any salary can top that. Do you understand? It's going to finish every single month. So I feel like you said, if I can start teaching Mundana at a young age how to think outside the box, how to be creative, how to be innovative, how to add to society instead of just fill posts. Because there's not enough posts for everybody to fill, unfortunately. So you have to have that mentality. It's a poverty mentality, sort of, to want to work for someone forever. If that's your life goal, I feel like personally that's kind of a poverty mindset. I'd always see it as the thing of, okay, because my sister always says, when you're working for someone else, you are building someone else's empire. Someone else that's their entrepreneurial, they're entrepreneurs in that field, and then you are just one of the little robots and little servants that are making his dream possible. So it's like, I know not everybody is able to be an entrepreneur or whatever. Not everyone is innovative, and jobs are important in that sense, that you can provide for those who need actually work, and they've got responsibilities they want to take care of now. But I feel like if you have an opportunity, take it with both hands. If you've got parents, you've got some sort of privilege, you're young, take that time and that opportunity to do something with your life. I was actually thinking about our grandmother who recently passed and her life. And she's just one example that showed me that it's never impossible to get something out of life. It's a matter of putting your foot down and taking action and doing it. Just do it. Waking up in the morning, dreaming about it, that's a step. That's not going to get you anywhere. It's one step. You need to keep walking. You need to keep doing do something practical. So what she did, she had a husband. She had 5 children, right? And she was living in Elokshini. She didn't have parents. So you can see Uguti, her life in jail already, she just had no privileges, right? But where she ended up, she had 5 educated children who were grown up. Some were married. They were successful in their own fields. They're standing independently. They're comfortable in their homes. She got her degree. She almost completed her master's. I don't know if she completed her master's, but she almost completed her master's. And she always says, "Ndajiga, we masters."
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, she was 50 when she started all of that. She went overseas. This is a woman who had no children, who had no parents, who had 5 kids on her own, because, her husband's situation, guys, bad deep. But, she was alone, and she achieved all of that, and she made sure, she said that she told herself she was going to do. I've never in my life heard my grandmother say that she can't do something. Like, she was a go-getter. That's what she was, and that's what you need to be in life if you want to be successful. So she ended up going overseas, representing Eastern Cape, representing South Africa. She shook Mandela's hand. She was just...
By the way, we know all these stories because she repeated
them every single time. She was like, follow in my footsteps, follow in my footsteps, follow in my footsteps. That's what... And when I was young, I used to understand what she meant by follow my footsteps. I'm like, what if we don't want to do those things? But I get what she was saying, that you need to go and get stuff. You need to be a go-getter in life. You can't just end up a mediocre or nothing. She did not settle for mediocrity. She didn't. So... that kind of motivated me and showed me that if she can do that with the more opportunities I have than she did, what's stopping me from getting what I want out of life? Do you understand? So as much as, yes, it's sad that our backgrounds are kind of like not fair towards, our fellow brothers and sisters who are of a different race, but you can still do something about it.
I think what I also caught from what you said is that a lot of everyone, I think, needs some sort of role model in a way, because like the way you're mentioning it, Anathi Makul was kind of like an example of some sort, something tangible, and I think it's so necessary, like for every successful person, to show how they got there for real. All the trials and tribulations included, not just to be
Not
like,
just
this is
to
the
be like,
success.
this is where I am.
Yeah,
How
so I
did you
think
get there?
with every path and every journey everyone takes, they need some sort of example and some sort of...
Yeah, and that's why it's important to share. I think a lot of people are nervous that if they share their experience, that people will think they're bragging. Okay, number one, I don't think there's anything wrong with bragging. I mean, if you got it, you got it. I mean, you deserve. So I mean, if you're bragging, it's not like you're bragging, but you're letting people know that it's possible. And that's why I think I commend people who go out there and go to the youth and talk to them about stuff, because you're surrounded by your reality in life. So someone will grow up in the Eastern Cape, in the rural, which is where our parents come from, with no frame of knowledge of what's happening in the cities and all of that. And as soon as someone comes and tells them what's out there, then they'll be interested to want to go there, and then they're going to get up. Do you understand? So it is important to also share where you've been. I feel like as a Christian also, I believe a lot in testimonies. And testimonies are our way of helping others through our stories. So your experience and your story can help someone else
like take off
have
the load.
their story, or to actually have that mind opening of, which means I can also try something like this, because I mean, if it's possible for someone else, maybe it could be possible for me to do like this. You understand? So
okay, steering it back to like the schooling system thing, right? There's a question I wanted to ask, but I don't know how to ask it. Do you think that it's absolutely necessary? Because we're having this discussion off camera. Do you think it's absolutely necessary to be in school and to be educated? Because I had this thing I was saying in one of my videos about some things you need to go to school for, some things you don't have to. And I think school is like not a teacher of a human intelligence or knowledge, but more so training for a job or a position or a place in society. So that's what we are trained to do since we're kids. Not to say that we are dumb when we don't succeed in that, but then it's kind of like that is how people frame intelligence and being smart and being wise. They equate it to having a degree, having an education. So I think that's also like the whole mind frame about in our generation that we face. We start seeing ourselves in a different light, to be like, we're not good enough. We feel like we're not those people who have degrees. First of all, because I didn't have the opportunities, I couldn't afford it. Or secondly, I just didn't have the talent for it or skill. I don't know. There's different reasons why people fail in certain things, but people are good at certain things. Everyone is good at things. Probably like I'm good at a lot of things you're not good at, and you're good at a lot of things I'm not good at. So that just goes with everybody. So that's the question.
For me personally, it's like the educational system that we have does not explore everyone's individual talent.
That's all I needed.
And everyone is unique. It's like there's this picture that always says you can't like compare an elephant and a monkey and say they must climb a tree, and then say, the elephant is dumb because it can't climb the tree, because it wasn't made to climb the tree. So like you're saying, some people aren't good at maths and science and physics and all of that, and they have grown up to feel like, I'm not good enough because I'm not good at these things, which is not true, because we have got talents which were given to us from God.
Thank you.
So
different gifts.
But that we all have. And education in the society, I must say, it is something that is praised and looked at upon like, wow, it's a good thing to have. But I don't think the route in which we were taught we can get educated is the only way we can get educated, or the only route. Because you find people, Makulu as an example, she only got educated varsity level at 50. So all those other years, but she was still achieving things. Do you understand? So it doesn't mean that if you don't have a degree to your name at this point in time that you're any less than someone else who does. But you know, if you feel like we were saying with my sister, education is something that you do to enhance yourself, because knowledge is strength. So if you have, say, a talent in making films, and you go out there, you're creative, you get yourself a camera, you invest in that instead, you shoot, you sell it to whatever, they see you, you start off your business in that way, you understand? And then to make yourself more credible, you like, okay, I have enough means now to go and enhance my qualification or my CV or whatever, so people can see that I actually have knowledge about what I'm doing. Because as much as, like I said, yes, you will have talent, but these day and ages, people like looking at the facts. They like looking at something tangible to say, oh, okay. Like investors, if you want to start a company, it's very hard to start one if you don't have some sort of, how are they going to trust you? Like, how do you know that you actually have knowledge about what you're doing? So that's another thing that could hold you back a little bit, but it doesn't mean that it's the only way, but it is a good.
And I think it also kind of like a fast forward, because some things you learn by experience, and it may take a little longer.
It may take a little longer.
It may be more valuable, but it takes a bit longer because you're now just going through the struggles you could have learned in school. Like oh, you do it like this, you do it like this, you do it like this. Oh, okay, now I don't have to go through that. But now if you didn't like get the facts, then you kind of have to learn on the way, and you fail more, but then you also learn. So I don't know, it just takes a little longer. But it's not impossible. It's just to say, if you're not in school, you can. You can. I mean, you get people like, oh, Casper Vest. But I mean, how many Casper Vests exist in the world is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. There's only one. So not everyone gets, I don't want to say lucky, but guys, not everyone has the same drive also. So it depends on the person and how you go at your life. So if you know that, you know what, I feel like me personally, having this first will get me there, then do that. If you feel like, okay, let me hustle here first, and then later on I'll see if I want to enhance my mentality by, going to school and learning and all of that, then do it. And also this thing of, oh no, I went to this type of college and I went to this college, and it doesn't matter. As long as you are pursuing what you are pursuing, you have some sort of thing to prove that, you can do what you're doing. It doesn't matter where you got it from. Now, if you're credible and you're good at what you're doing, it doesn't matter where you come from. See, we all ramble in this family, by the way. I told you I ramble, she rambles.
Yeah, I know, I talk too much.
But okay, so I just want to quickly ask you this question. I think it's important. Do you, as a student, right? Do you have, because you hear about these things of kids being depressed or some committing suicide and all of that stuff. Students, For you personally, first question, have you had those moments where you felt confused, you felt depressed about just school in general, whether it be from wherever, primary, high school, varsity, whatever, and why do you think you felt that way? Where do you think it came from? And also, have you ever witnessed, people who have been in deep depression?
Yes, so many times, especially when you get to varsity. It's like you see a different side of school than what they've made us go through in primary and high school. It's not the same thing at all. It's real. You almost feel like you're in it's like real life, but not real life, because I still feel like it's a fantasy compared to the real world. Yeah. But no, it is.
No, that's true. Because you get out and you're like, what?
Yeah, you're just faced with more.
I feel so alone.
Yeah, it's just worse. So I feel like it's worse than in high school. And I've seen people in states. I've also been in a state. In third year, I remember calling Mama saying, Mama, I'm not good enough for this. I don't know what I'm doing, why I'm still trying to get into medicine. Who am I? Like, what the hell am I doing? And I'm not good enough. I should just stop because I'm wasting time. And then I worry a lot about wasting time. I don't like wasting time. So I was like, this is wasting my time. My marks are not doing the things. I'm not going to get funding because of these marks. I'm not going to get into my honors because of these marks. I'm just a failure. I just thought I'm just bad. And I was putting in my all in undergrad. Like, we were just going at the library. I never had breaks. We didn't really go out. Like, our parents would probably think at night you're at the library. That's the only outing you know. You go back to your room, you sleep. You wake up in the morning, you go back to the library, go to class, you go to labs, you go to the library, you sleep for a little bit, you go back, wake up again, same cycle. There was no life. And people got depressed, obviously, because some people have bursaries that they have to live up to because someone else is paying for you. So now it's like, if you fail, they've wasted their money on you. And it's that pressure that everyone faces. It's not just pressure from the studies alone, it's everything else. Families looking at you like, yay, you need to pass here because you're the only one who've invested in you to go to varsity. When you pass, you must get a job, then you must feed us. You know what I mean? So people are just thinking about all those things when they're at school, and that's why they get so stressed, and that's why they sleep in libraries, and you know, they just stress because, and then when the marks come and it's not something that reflects how hard they've worked, they feel like a mess and they feel like useless, and like they want to just leave, and some of them end up leaving in sad ways. So one thing that kept me sane, to be honest, was God, me. Hey, like, I felt like if I was not spiritually grounded, I was going to make decisions. Because even in my spirituality, it's not like I'm perfect. I've still had thoughts of doing stupid things, and I'm just like, no, man, this isn't how I'm supposed to be thinking. Now imagine if I didn't have anything to hold me accountable for my thoughts or whatever, I would probably do it, and I'd find myself in heaven or wherever. You understand?
Jump.
Yeah, like, or slice yourself, like these things.
Shit,
happen.
like you really had like those thoughts before.
Yeah. Like, I've just been so, and I think it stems from since I was young, right? I've always felt like I've lived my life to try and be good and do good and achieve good marks and be like, you know, the high whatever. So when I started not getting those things, when I didn't get into medicine, I got rejected. I just been rejected and just brought down to a lower, like, just sit down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like, it just demotivated me, and I just felt like, what's the point? I was confused in life. Like, what am I actually here to do? What's the point? Why was I even good at what I was doing? Why was I even good at school if I can't even pass properly here? I'm just a mess. I'm useless. What's my talent? Where am I going? What's my future? I was confused. And yeah, that's what varsity does to you. But you get to a point where you kind of, also, I appreciate the pressure, because I mean, when you look at society, you face pressures, and I think that's what they're trying to do, is to show you that in life it's not going to be an easy ride. You're going to face pressures, you're going to feel low, but you know, you need to learn how to deal with those things. So low-key, like, I appreciate it, but it's also like, oh
yeah, it just sucks that life has to be like that. Like,
yeah, man.
Who determined, like, okay, this is how it must be?
Why aren't we all happy and just,
yeah,
you know,
that's what all this stress
just get what we want. Just want to be a doctor. Okay, everyone wants to be a doctor. Come here, get in. Let's just teach you and then do it. Yeah. Don't make me battle. You know what I mean? But it's life. It's fine.
Yeah. I hope there's not going on too long. But I think we'll cut it for now. But thank you so much for coming through, for inviting me, for allowing me to come here, because I'm at your place. And I think these things are very important to talk about. I mean, I'm trying to like talk about different things for the youth, because I think what really helps us is hearing other people's struggles and problems, because it kind of takes the weight off your shoulder in a way, to kind of be like, oh, he's going through that, or she's going through that, and I'm going through that, you know?
Yeah.
It's I'm not alone. I don't feel alone.
A lot of the time, depression and people being sad stems from being alone.
So yeah. Unfortunately, like, the camera cut somewhere along the line. I think we went over like the 30-minute limit. So, but I hope you guys got a lot of the stuff that we said. I really wanted to like open a conversation about this stuff, and because it's one of the things we're dealing with as young people, because you do face a lot of depression from it, a lot of suicide that happens from students. So I think what really helps is if we talk about these things and, you know, share the pain with each other, the struggles, the trials, so that you know that you're not alone. You know, you don't feel alone in the world. You don't feel like you're the only one dealing with this thing, trapped in your own thoughts. And you can get to feed off someone else who probably made it a success or who's just going through the same thing, and you guys can just literally walk together in this life thing. So yeah, man, thanks. And do you have any last words that you want to say before we leave?
You matter. That's all I have to say. Like, if you feel like you don't matter, if you feel like you're not good enough, there's no such thing. You're the only one of you that exists. So you definitely matter.
Yeah.
So whatever it is you do, even if you fail, failure is not something that exists unless you're dead. Because you can still change whatever you've been through, even if it didn't happen the way you wanted. So there's no such thing as failure for me. It's just learning curves. Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. No, man. Also, you guys just send us your comments about what you guys are dealing with. You know, let's have conversations. Maybe you guys have strategies on how to overcome these things, and just as a human being, on a human being level, like how to overcome stress or how to overcome being a student, dealing with all of this stuff. What your guys' stories are, if you're depressed or whatever, just contact, man. Let's talk about it, because I think the more we have a dialogue with each other is the more we can kind of create a healing process of some sort, because that's where it starts, man. It literally starts with the mind. I've been saying this. Everything is in here. Like, this is your heaven and hell right here, man. You can decide where to live in here, because it's just you in here, and you live with you, and you need to clean up your mind or do something so that you can live in a perfectly healthy environment. So yeah, man, thanks a lot, and I will see you next time. Peace and love.
Stick up, chisa, chisa in my leg. It was side, boogie, see ya, pull up.